Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we're gonna take a look at some Great League battles in the Sinnoh Cup, featuring Froslass, Drapion and Empoleon in the back. All three of these Pokemon are decent safe swaps and do not usually get walled. Also, this is an ABB line. The basic idea being that you would safe swap to your Drapion to draw out the fighter or the ground type, and then finish it off with the Froslass. Then come back in with the Empoleon to clean up. Things to look out for include a fighter in the back, because a Lucario and especially a Toxicroak can really clean up your team, especially once you lose Froslass. And now let's get into the battles. And our opponent comes out with a Munchlax. The licks do hurt, but fortunately, Body Slam does almost no damage to Froslass. We're gonna try to hit them right away with the Avalanche and see what they do. They take the Avalanche and swap out into a Skunk Tank. And this is a Bite Skunk Tank, so it's dealing a lot of damage. Fortunately, we're able to get to the Avalanche, and I think they're gonna shield this. Yes, they do shield that. We swap into our Empoleon. And these waterfalls are really dealing a lot of damage to Skunk Tank. We're gonna go ahead and shield this. This is probably a Crunch. That's right, it's a Crunch. And we're going to waterfall down and come out with a lot of energy. The Munchlax comes back in and tries to hit us right away. We do shield it because we do have a lot of energy. And we hit them with the Hydro Cannon to take them out. And the last Pokemon is a Bibarel. And we try to hit them with the Drill Peck, but they do shield. And now it's gonna be Shadow Drapion versus this Bibarel. We hit them with the Crunch. And we should be able to get to the Aqua Tail to win the game. And good game to my opponent. And our next opponent comes out with an Abomasnow. This is actually a favorable match, as our fast moves are dealing neutral while theirs is resisted. We try to hit them right away with the Avalanche, and they do shield. This could be an Energy Ball, so we're gonna go ahead and shield it. No, it's only a Weather Ball. And he switches right away into the Bastiodon, and we counter switch with the Empoleon. And now we have him switch locked against our Empoleon. He's gonna hit us, but no matter what it is, it won't take us out. So we will take the Flamethrower and charge up to 2 Hydro Cannons before taking him out. Fortunately, he does come in with the Lucario, and before we can hit another Hydro Cannon, we are countered down. Then switch into our Frostlass. And now we're gonna charge up to a Shadow Ball and see if he wants to shield it. And now we instantly swap into our Drapion, hoping to catch a Shadow Ball. But unfortunately, he hits us with a Power-Up Punch instead. And now he makes a great swap into Abomasnow, taking the Aqua Tail. And now we shield up this Weather Ball, knowing that we can get to a Crunch. But we do farm extra energy because we know that Lucario has some energy and we're gonna have to deal with it. And now we hit it with the Aqua Tail and swap right away to Froslass to take it out. In our next match, we're faced with a Frosslass Mirror. Okay, that was a little too quick for a Shadow Ball, so we're gonna let it through. And then build up to our own Shadow Ball and try to see if they shield the Shadow Ball. They do shield it, and build up to another avalanche, and we're gonna have to shield this because this would take us out. And now the opponent makes an incredible swap into their Bastiodon to absorb the Shadow. Unfortunately for him, we do have our Empoleon, and the Empoleon is going to get a lot of farm from this Bastiodon. We can take the Flamethrower and we decide to completely farm down this Bastiodon and come out of the match with a lot of energy. And their last Pokemon is a Gastrodon, but we're loaded with energy and we're gonna try to hit them with back-to-back Hydro Cannon. He takes the first and then shields the second and tries to farm us down, but we switch back into our Frosslass. The opposing Frosslass should be able to get to the Avalanche before we can get to our attack. We decide to let it go and trust in our Drapion to carry the match. And we do get to the crunch before the Frosslass can get to an Avalanche. But now we have to deal with the Gastrodon. I'm not sure we can get to the crunch, so we decide to hit them with the Aqua Tail instead. And it does fall short. And here's where I make a huge mistake. I decide not to shield it, and it turns out to be an Earth Power, which takes me out. And my Empoleon comes back in, and we take each other out. Good game to my opponent. And now, moving on to our next match. And we have a horrible lead in Bastiodon. We're gonna switch out immediately into Drapion, and he counter switches into a Toxicroak. We build up to almost 2 Aqua Tails before releasing the charge move. He does get to the Mud Bomb before I can get to my second Aqua Tail, so I decide to shield it up and try to hit them with the Aqua Tail. He does shield the second Aqua Tail, otherwise it would be taking him out. Now he tries to fast move me down, but I do get to a third Aqua Tail. And I take his last shield before he can counter me down. I come back in with the Frosslass, and he does hit me with a charge move, but no matter what it is, I know I can survive it, so I decide to take it. Now he immediately switches to his Bastiodon, and this is the perfect opportunity to bring in my Empoleon. Empoleon has such a dominating matchup against Bastiodon. I easily take the Flamethrower and start building up some more energy. Now I hit him with the Hydro Cannon, knowing that it won't take him out and that I'll be able to farm a little bit more energy so that I have energy coming into the Toxicroak. Now these counters hurt a lot, so I decide to hit him with the Hydro Cannon as quickly as possible. And his last Pokemon is a Drapion. The Hydro Cannon hits like a truck. And now I switch into my Frosslass, knowing I have a shield just in case he gets to a crunch. He does get to the crunch, I shield, and now I should be able to outpace him to the Avalanche. And that's more than enough to take out that Drapion. In our next match, we're faced with a Bastiodon, so we immediately switch out and they immediately counter with their Toxicroak. We build up to 2 Aqua Tails, but before we can get to a single Aqua Tail, they do get to the Mud Bomb. We shield the Mud Bomb knowing it'll take us out, and counter with 2 Aqua Tails of our own. He takes the first Aqua Tail, and shields the second one. But we should be able to get to a third Aqua Tail before he can counter us down. He uses up his last shield and decides to counter us down. We come back in with the Frosslass, and he hits us with a charge move. We decide to take it, knowing that whatever he throws at us, we will probably survive. Knowing that he's energy dry, we decide to fast move down. The Bastiodon comes back in, but we immediately switch to our Empoleon, and he switches to his Drifblim. But his Drifblim doesn't have any shields, and this Hydro Cannon is really gonna hurt. He does get to the charge move before I can waterfall him down though. So I decide to shield this up, knowing that it's probably a Shadow Ball. And now I'm going to charge up to a Hydro Cannon. And wait until the opponent attacks us with a Flamethrower. Once he hits us with the Flamethrower, I'm gonna swap out immediately to my Frosslass and finish him off with the Shadow Ball. And in our next match, we're faced with an Empoleon. And in this match, we decide to not shield the Hydro Cannon to see if we can get ahead in shields. We do go for the Shadow Ball because there's no point to hit the Avalanche at this point. And he does shield, but he does waterfall us down. And now we decide to come in with our own Empoleon to see if we can make use of this shield advantage. We take the resisted Hydro Cannons while dealing out our own, hoping that we can make use of the shield advantage. Unfortunately, before we can waterfall them down, they do get to another Hydro Cannon and we're forced to shield. They do come in with their own Frosslass, but before they can fast move us down, we do get off the Hydro Cannon, which they shield. Now we immediately switch to our Drapion before they can get ahead on energy. We shield up their Avalanche, and they immediately switch into their own Drapion. Now I know this is going to be the battle of the Aqua Tails, and this looks like it's going to come down to the wire. We hit him with back-to-back Aqua Tails. But he comes back with his own Aqua Tail. And now I build up some energy, let him hit me with the Aqua Tail. And then immediately switch out to the Empoleon and fast move him down. And now I built up some energy, and hopefully I can get to that Hydro Cannon before this Frosslass takes us out. We barely get the Hydro Cannon off, but we should be able to get to the Aqua Tail before this Frosslass can hit us with the Avalanche, and we take the win! That was an amazing battle! In our next match, we're faced with a positive lead. But the Gastrodon immediately switches out to an Empoleon. We decide to build up to a Shadow Ball and see if they shield. They do shield, so we immediately switch out to our own Empoleon. We trade Hydro Cannons. But he does get to a back-to-back, which forces me to shield. Now he switches back to his Gastrodon, but I do manage to hit him with a Hydro Cannon before he fast moves me down. We bring back in our Frosslass and we go for the Avalanche. Which he shields. And now I know he has a lot of energy. And so I decide to shield. It's an Earth Power. And now I decide to try to farm him down. But before I can farm him down, he takes me out. This is not good. Now I find out his last Pokemon is is a Torterra. I immediately try to go for the crunch. And the crunch lands and lowers his defense. And now I'm going to try to finish him off with the Aqua Tail, but he makes an incredible swap. Fortunately, I'm able to get to another Aqua Tail to finish him off. In this last match, we're faced with a Drapion. Now I know I can get to an Avalanche before he can get to a Crunch. So I throw the Avalanche. And try to catch the Crunch on my own Drapion. Unfortunately, they see it coming, and they hit us with the Aqua Tail, then immediately switch into a Piplup. Now I know the Piplup is probably going to hit me with multiple Icy Winds, so I decide to build up to a Crunch and fake with the Aqua Tail. And just like I thought, they do shield the bait. And now I'm gonna go straight Crunch for the rest of the battle. He does manage to get to the Icy Wind before I can get to the Crunch, so I decide to shield. It's not enough to take him out, but one more Crunch should be able to do the trick. So I build up to the Crunch, but he gets to the Icy Wind before I can get there. So I'm forced to use up my last shield. But fortunately, my Crunch is enough to take him out. He comes in with his Drapion, and I immediately switch to my Empoleon. He builds up to the Crunch. And hits me with it. And immediately switches to his Cherrim. Now I'm able to get to the Drill Peck. But this Cherrim is going to be able to take out the Empoleon before I can get to another move. Now I come back in with my Drapion, hoping to farm him down before he can get to another move. But he gets there and takes me out. I farm down the Cherrim, hoping that I can get to an Avalanche before the opposing Shadow Drapion can get to a Crunch. And we're almost there, but we lose the CMP tie! And the Crunch lands, but it doesn't take us out, and we're able to get to the Avalanche to win the game. Thank you to all my opponents for some amazing battles, and we'll see you next time.